Traveling the Vortex. Side Trip.
We've joined the Doctor as he travels the Vortex and arrive at side trip number 32. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
To
Merry
all of you
Christmas.
at home.
Merry Christmas to all you home. Merry Christmas to all and to all good. Oh, wait. That's sure how we should close
That's
it.
how
right?
we should close it.
Yeah. God bless us, everyone. No, we should use that.
That's the ending, too.
Humbug.
It's our Christmas special.
Yep. It occurred to us we haven't done a Christmas special since last Christmas, guys. I mean, we haven't done a side trip all year, and this is our first one of the year, and this happens to be our Christmas special as well. So
It's been a busy year.
It has been a busy year. And after last year, we put out so many Christmas specials.
well, yeah. Well, it was side trips.
Yes.
They were all Christmas presents, I suppose.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
We didn't do that this year. I'm sure everybody got to Christmas Eve and went, oh, we didn't get all the specials this year.
Well, we got a couple audios we're going to
do.
review for you. Some Christmas-themed audios from Big Finish.
So what's up first, Keith?
First, the Little Drummer Boy. A few more random landings should shake the Daleks, so to speak. But for the Doctors, Stephen and Sarah, the landings are anything but random. It's Christmas Day, so many times. What terrible secret is bringing the time travelers to the same day in different years?
Bum, bum, bum.
This picks right up after Feast of Stephen. In fact, we get a little bit of the chaos going on in the
Little
movie
overlap,
set. We
yeah.
don't get the breaking the fourth wall, but it is alluded to the fact that they just had some sherry because the Doctor is sleeping in the corner, so they do cover that over.
Right.
And so I thought that was kind of interesting, a place to pick that up and give the listener a good idea of this Christmas Day continuing.
Well, and it's very cleverly done in that we
overlap
we see the
from the
overlap
perspective
from the
of the boy.
perspective of the boy.
Yes.
And so there's overlap there, and then the TARDIS leaves, which is where the breaking the fourth wall would be.
Yes.
But we are still with the boy.
We're with the boy, yes.
Right.
And then when we join the TARDIS mid-flight, it is just after.
Right.
And so
the Doctor's
it
passed
still
out.
happened. We just weren't there for it.
Exactly.
That's my boy Eddie.
I enjoyed this one.
It was okay.
Some interesting ideas.
It was some interesting ideas. I'll give it that.
The title I thought was a bit of a stretch.
Yeah,
He had a drum once.
Yeah, I wondered about that myself, and I thought, well, they did that to put
They needed another Christmas spin.
right, exactly. I mean, we had Feast of Stephen, and which is a lyric in a song, and then we had the Little Drummer Boy, and then we're going to get O Tannenbaum down the line as well. So we obviously have a Christmas song theme going on here, a carol theme.
And he did have a drum.
He did at one point.
He was a little boy.
I also thought it was very interesting that this is the Doctor's second visit to first time that he visits. Sorry,
World War One.
This is his
Christmas
first visit
Day.
to the armistice of Christmas Day on the battlefield of World War
incarnation.
I, and it made me wonder if he's there. Well, he is obviously there again with the 12th Doctor and Archibald, and having to be very careful not to, although they can't see him because they put them outside of time, and the Doctor talks about that. But very careful to look around and make sure it's
I imagine they're on completely different battlefields.
yes, probably
Because it's not
That
just
could be.
one.
No,
There's
and
multiple battlefields.
It's a very long trench. Well,
Yeah.
it's implied that the armistice really only took place at one
At the one
location.
spot, okay.
But
I wasn't sure on that.
it could have been a long line. It
yeah.
was a long front.
Very long
So,
front.
yeah, he doesn't necessarily have to be right in the same spot that the Doctor.
I wondered about that, which I have to admit, I kind of wonder every time we get to a World War II story.
World War One.
No, every time we get to a World War II story.
Oh, okay.
And the Doctor pops out of the TARDIS and sees, it's Nazis. Is there somewhere in the back of his mind that he pulls out the map And
Okay,
there's
where
little
am I?
TARDIS pins of everywhere that he's been, that he's like, am I okay to walk out the door?
Right.
Gotta
Yes,
avoid
you know.
Churchill during this time frame.
I'm not gonna trip over myself at this moment. Okay.
Right.
Just
Luckily,
because
we really don't have that with World War I too much.
yeah,
Yeah, that's true. There really haven't been very many.
there haven't been very many, but if there were, what would we go back? The armistice at Christmas. Yeah, there we go.
Human Nature would have been another one. Where
Yeah.
And that comic,
the
Titan comic.
one with the angels.
Yeah.
Was that World War One?
Wasn't that
I
World
had
War
forgotten. I thought that was World War Two, but
Pretty,
could have been World.
pretty sure it was World War One.
I remember
there
crumbling
was trenches-
buildings.
Because it ended with the.
I remember crumbling buildings in that one.
It ended
but
with the flowers, didn't it?
the poppies.
Yeah.
It was trench warfare, so I think it was World War One,
Okay.
but maybe not.
Anyways, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Anyway, yes. So armistice, and I thought, oh, cool. He's here twice now, and he's there at the same time, so he better be very careful. But he doesn't know that, and obviously, Big Finish didn't know that because that was written later too.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting that idea had been applied already by Big Finish one other time. Not the use of it. It's certainly not used in the same way, but the fact that the Doctor's been there twice now, so same day. I thought the story was okay. I thought it was a bit. It's a little empty that a lost time ship picks up a little boy, and because it needs a pilot, and he sort of, in a way, becomes trapped and isolated within himself, but he's continuing to go back because he doesn't really grow up, even though he is aging as the pilot in this ship, and he's going back to Christmas events because that's what he recognizes. It's the grief of finding his mother dead. Obviously, she'd overdosed, was the impression I got.
Yeah.
Father had left, right? Or had he died? Brother obviously had died from leukemia. It was this weird thing where nothing really was gelling for me until it was like, let's build a mystery and just see how surreal we can get with it. And then at the end, I was like, okay, well, here's the Christmas moment. This is what's going to happen. We're going to figure something out. You're going to go out the door and replace your dead brother and pretend like...
That's, yeah.
that was bizarre.
Yeah.
And then I thought...
And it wasn't entirely clear at first what they were what their entire plan was.
Yeah,
They were like, we're going to take you
I
back.
thought, well, wait a minute.
How is that going to work? He's right there.
The boy can't be dead yet because the parents would have gone, he's back from the dead. So I thought the other boy, Chris, must not be dead yet. What do we do? How can you say? And then suddenly they're on the planet with the dying boy showing him Mars. And I thought, okay, well, at least we've explained what's going on here. So we didn't create a paradox because...
But we still did.
Well, we did.
Because...
Yes, you're right. It did. But
Let's hope they never touch each other.
well, that was the other thing. Is like I kept thinking limitation effect, but then he died. Here's a beautiful. You like science fiction stories, so here's where you're going to die on Mars. And did they bury him there? I never got the impression. Did they he died and then they left him and they thought, well, he'll decompose. I didn't. This just was. I could not rectify from about the halfway point to the end.
Yeah.
It was like you were
Once the
going somewhere with
revelation
the story,
of the
and then you
time
went,
ship
I
is
don't know
like-
where to go with this, so let's just make some stuff up here. I thought it was bizarre.
I agree with you. The first half, I thought we continue to land at different Christmases throughout time, and there's always this little boy here, and we get this very kind of interesting little mystery. Okay. And then there's a time ship. Okay, I can get behind that. And he's the passenger or pilot, for lack of a better word. And he's revisiting Christmases because that's the one time he was happy.
Right.
Okay. And then we kind of get the backstory. We find out that brother's dying of leukemia and that dad left. I get the impression that dad just left. He could just walk out.
That might have been it. I couldn't
handle
remember what happened to Dad. Yeah.
But mom definitely overdosed.
Right.
So he was left alone. But now here's where it gets weird, as if this wasn't weird. So the Chris, the boy who has leukemia, apparently went walkabout on Christmas
While he's sick.
while sick with leukemia, because Mom says, "Oh, you're back." Yeah, I'm feeling better. What?
Where did he go? Well,
And the doctors couldn't explain how he had suddenly healed. It was a Christmas miracle.
I mean, I'm sorry. I don't mean to make light of this. You had leukemia. This is not something you get up and walk around with. You know,
even going back further when he's talking about it from his, I know it's from a kid's perspective, but the fact that his brother just disappears one day.
yeah.
No, you need to explain that to your son. You need to explain what happened to your other boy.
He just apparently went off to die,
And the fact
he
that
was like a cat.
He went to live on a farm upstate.
Right.
It's like, what?
And the fact that he got better for one Christmas right before that,
right.
and then the next day he was gone. What? That doesn't even make any sense.
I totally agree.
So, but yeah, Mom wasn't. Oh, you're back. What? What do you mean? How do you let a cancer patient wander at age 9 or however old he is, wander out of the house at night?
Not worry about him. Not go
worry
search
about
for him. And then suddenly, when they open the door and go, "Oh, you're back."
Did he have the IV and did he take equipment with him? I mean, was he bedridden?
They don't really explain what year this was set. This time
nothing.
frame was it?
No.
He just, and all I could.
1960s, wasn't it? I thought.
I thought it was
not.
fairly close to that.
Yeah.
All I could hear in my head
Because
was
the first
Monty
point of
Python.
contact was the police station. When they had landed at the police station.
All I could hear in my head was Monty Python. I got better. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
What? So, all right. But the doctor's plan is, well,
Yeah, it was 66.
you're going to replace your brother. They're twins. You're going to step in and be Chris from now on because you go on and he doesn't. So you can step in and be him. And the boy's like, yeah, I can do that.
Well, and plus
How does that work?
Plus the
Yeah.
fact that somehow the terrarium just magically de-aged him.
That I was okay with. And when we got to that moment, it is serendipity that we stumbled across this so soon after doing Develop Master Plan, because one of the things with the terrarium core was the fact that they had the ability to alter the
That's right.
Yeah, I
time.
had completely bought it because of the fact that it was a Tyranium.
So
core.
when we got to that moment, I was like, "Oh, that's slicker than snot. That's so cool!" And I had to stop and explain it to Mel because we were listening to it.
Because all he had to do was certainly touch the Tyranium core,
Right.
and it reversed its age. So
And so that totally worked for me. That was like, oh, this is brilliant. What a way to not only shoehorn this story in, but do it in a way that made it work. So all the way up to that moment was, I bought the time ship, I bought the kit. Yeah, that works. Everything beyond that moment suddenly doesn't work anymore. And I'm scratching my head going, Eddie, wait. And even Mel, who's listening to it, you're going to replace your dead brother. Even she stopped what she was doing. I went, what? How is that supposed to work? I don't know. Wouldn't that create a parody? Yes, it would.
At least they acknowledge the
Doctor's
fact
young.
that
He doesn't have a lot of great ideas at this point. I'll give you that.
and it's Christmas.
And it's
And that's what I chalked it up to. I was
you
like,
can't change history.
Not
one word.
not one word of it. Not one
line.
Except for Christmas is basically what he says in this one. Well, it is Christmas.
And this one little boy who should be dead. Yeah, it's
Well, the one little boy was dead. They took him to Mars so he
true.
could die. But yeah, I just
So yeah, that still happened. Well, what about this? Well, he's crossed his time stream so many times that he's kind of created his own little thing anyway.
What happens in 2030 when we finally land on Mars and we find the bones of a little boy? That's gonna really wig some people out.
yeah.
With an IV. Pole. I love New York t-shirt.
That story was okay. I had a lot of problems with the ending, but I mean, I'm a sucker for Christmas stories, and it's set at Christmas time, and it has a bit of a Christmassy
Kind of.
finale, I guess. So, yay, Christmas!
That one was a little less loosely Christmas, other than him wanting to visit Christmas.
Right.
That it wasn't as heavily Christmas.
Well, and
as
it
like
was
the
on
next one.
Christmas that he replaced his brother.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I was fine with everything up until the resolution, and then it was like, what? How are you?
Yeah,
that doesn't work.
We did kind of wipe the whole paradox and Blinovitch limitation effect under the carpet on this one, but okay.
Yeah.
You two get a little closer to this picture. No, that's really not a good idea, Ma.
Well, they wouldn't know. Unless the doctor prepped him for it.
Maybe they were warned.
Whatever you do, don't touch your brother.
That's going to lead
I
to
wonder
a
what
very
had happened.
awkward relationship.
Ow!
Yeah.
It's the greatest game of You're Not Touching Me.
And I'm sorry, a lot of people with twins are going to recognize that there's something wrong with that one child. The average person doesn't be able to
Right.
identify the differences in twins, but
The parents would be able to tell the difference.
that would be. You look.
Never mind
too
it just
remarkably
goes
like your
away.
brother now, yeah. Anyway,
Leukemia
so,
doesn't work like that. They even knew that in the 60s.
I don't get it. He went out one night at Christmas and he came back with a goatee.
it's not Mirror Universe. All
Might as
right.
well be.
Well, let's move on to the next story, which is
O Tannenbaum. It's Christmas time, and there's no need to be afraid. The TARDIS has landed in a winter wonderland, and the weather outside is frightful. A world of dread and fear, and it's not just the frost that's cruel. It's Christmas Eve, but will the Doctor and Stephen get to see another one? And all of the trees in the wood, who really bears the crown?
Bum, bum, bum.
the Hollyberry. The Holly bears the crown.
Okay.
And that's part of that song. The holly and the ivy. You ever heard it? Oh, it's a Christmas song. Never mind.
I don't
The
think I'm
holly
familiar with
bears
that
the
one.
crown is one of the lines in that. Anyway, so what do you guys think of this one?
I like this one a little better.
I did too. Even though there's some issues with this, but
Perhaps some of the issues with these is just the limitedness of the short trips. They can't really expound or...
no,
think
that's
through.
probably certainly true. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of this felt like Dr. Whittle and Wardrobe.
A little bit.
With the
Yeah,
living
I can
trees and
see
whatnot.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
My first thought was, oh, this is the race of trees that the Sycorax used in order to plant that tree in Rose's mom's flat that spun around and shot it. I thought they were
too.
going there. I thought,
Yeah.
oh, we're going to find out about where these killer trees come from.
I'm glad they
No.
didn't actually connect it to that.
So this is a different sentient tree from another planet. Oh, wait. No, we don't even imply that. We imply that these are just trees on Earth.
I was kind
well,
of
they
hoping
did
for
imply
the...
that they were sentient. Didn't
Yeah.
they imply
They were sentient,
They were
but they're
not
trees
sentient,
from Earth.
But not that they were trees from Earth. That they
yeah,
actually
they came from the sky.
they came from the sky.
Oh, did they? Okay, I missed
Yeah.
that. Okay, then
They came from the sky.
that
and the
fixes it a
family has
little bit for me.
been
then.
They were
the-
alien trees.
Right.
I knew it was several. They discovered them
Generations.
several
And
generations.
the trees
ago.
were actually just kids because they live for a really long time. So the doctor
Belligerent
gave them a
kids.
scolding, and they started acting right.
Everything was okay. This one was a little more heartfelt. I thought this one was a little more. I like the. It's kind of an old story, but the son doesn't believe the stories of caring for the trees, and he wants to leave the farm, and he goes away, and he has a kid, and he has a family, and he comes back to spend one more Christmas with Dad because Dad's dying, and Dad hasn't convinced him that, hey, you've got to stay here and take care of these trees because we made a pact. And to top it all off, because he doesn't believe him so much, he's gone out to chop a tree to take it inside as a Christmas tree, and then gone back out for firewood. Which luckily the doctor left that part out.
Right.
He just said, they brought him inside because that's a tradition of the humans here. Is they brought the trees in because they had this belief that they were they were gods, and they decorated and adored them, which is certainly true. Certainly has a nugget of truth of the pagan ritual of the Christmas tree, but he does leave out the fact that the second trip was to come chop one of you guys up and burn it and make a Yule log.
I had just thought to myself when Stephen is going, I noticed the fire was getting down, and I thought, well, I better, I'll tend to that. And I was just thinking,
That might not be the best idea.
when the doctor goes, I don't know that that's the best idea.
And while it's a common story, I like the fact that we jump into it midway through.
Yeah, me too.
So we get to discover, this is what that story really is.
It's
we
a
don't
nice
know it going into
it's
it.
nice backing into the
Yeah.
story. I like that a lot.
And more from the perspective of the child than the middle one.
I also like
the dad.
I also
as
like
opposed to
that
grandpa.
the tree, while is played off to be this sinister element in the room, almost turns out to be kind of the sheltering of this child, because I
Yeah.
get the impression that tree recognizes what's going on here and has been
or at least has a bond with the child.
and has developed a bond with the child. It's not able to obviously communicate to the other kid trees outside that, hey, everything's okay in here, and yeah, they've dressed me up and I look great and I've made a new friend. But
Even though it does take a swipe at Steven.
it does take a swipe at Steven, yes.
Right.
Well, it's still not, these were new people that came in.
Yeah.
And they might be friends of the old guy that came in. I don't know. Anyway.
Which, yeah, the fact that they cut it down, but it still implies that the tree is still alive. So is it really that big of a deal that they cut one down?
Yeah, it is still alive. But they must obviously, maybe they plant roots, because these are alien trees.
These
These
are
aren't real trees. Maybe they plant roots and then they're able to pull those roots up, because obviously they were moving around. I mean, they came up to the
Right.
cabin. It's not like
Unless it's one of those things where, it's alive for a certain amount of time after it dies.
Well, trees on Earth certainly do that.
See,
They're
yeah,
still alive
so
even after
I guess
roots have been.
they remain sentient too, and
Maybe.
until the needles fall off, they're still alive.
Well, I suppose as long as they're being
dead yet.
as long as they're being nourished. I mean, because you
Yeah.
could keep a tree inside for quite a bit as long as you kept it watered. Now, eventually, it's going to not get the nutrients it needs.
accelerate the aging process.
But as long as you keep it watered, and I mean, the reason trees die after Christmas is because we kind of quit watering them. But
right.
you could keep it alive for a little bit longer. So I don't know. I'm hoping that these trees, once they're done with it, they take this kid outside and he'll go, and new roots will go down, and everything will be fine. But it kind of leaves
Or
it.
it might just become
it
an
doesn't-
annual sacrifice.
It doesn't really. It doesn't really explain. Doesn't really explain though, does it?
There's a whole lot that this doesn't explain. I'm fine with the
I wasn't
mystery.
going to pick at the threads, but you
No,
go
I-
right
I-
ahead and pull them out.
I'm fine
More
with
like
the
picking at the
mystery.
needles.
I'm fine with the mystery. I'm fine with living alien trees. I'm fine with the pact that we made that we're going to protect them and that's what's going on. Okay, no problems really with any of that. But then we solve it. We scold the trees because they're
petulant.
They're petulant. They're getting a little out of hand. Hey, you kids, get off of my lawn. And they do. And suddenly that transforms into now everything is okay and the little girl can go outside and have a snowball fight with a couple of the younger pines while Dad has been partially transformed into a tree and has a branch for an arm. And as Stephen points out, isn't that going to interfere with, work? And the doctor says, well, the trees will figure it out. Let's go back to the
it is left a little too. It implies that Dad
Again, that's
has
the first
learned
doctorness.
something and will stay and watch after the trees, even though he has one arm. In fact, it alludes to the fact that he doesn't look as green as he did, so you kind of get the impression maybe he's being allowed to transform
Getting
back.
better.
So that's where my head canon went with it, because I was the same way. I was like, we're kind of scooting out of here a little too fast without giving me some closure. But okay.
Even if he's supposed to stay and protect the trees, he still needs to eat. And live.
The doctor's very...
I don't know what they did
But
for
I don't-
work.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's going to take over the farm, he's going to do whatever his dad did before.
Yeah, I
so
guess
he's
so.
got
It's- I guess
whatever
it
his
wasn't
dad
very
was doing
clear.
to survive, and he lived
Yeah.
to be a very old man. So
Yeah.
they farm vegetables. Maybe they have sentient
Let's hope those are
carrots.
sentient. The scream of a carrot when you eat it.
Is he able to mark which trees are okay to cut down for firewood? And which
Yeah, right, because you do have to have some fuel there.
Are the sentient trees going to get angry if you cut down a cousin tree? Or do they recognize that? Or
The
is
old
it-
man didn't die yet, right?
No, he was being carried upstairs on his son's
So
branch.
fortunately, his son could go upstairs and get filled
Get
in
the
and
info.
get the crash course on what you have to do here. Yeah, no, I agree. It was wrapped up a little too quickly, but it certainly was still better than I thought the ending of the other one.
Now I'm gonna show my complete ignorance in this subject matter at this point. I did not know that a Tannenbaum was a tree. I did not know that was the history.
You never wondered why sometimes people sing O Tannenbaum and sometimes people sing O Christmas Tree in that carol?
Didn't know that. Nope.
Isn't Tannenbaum the German word for Christmas tree?
I believe it is.
Yeah, I think the doctor explained that.
Did he?
When he was going back into the Germans of I think he said that it's an old German thing that they would bring the trees in. That's where it came from.
That was their custom to bring.
It's a German Christmas song.
Okay, maybe he doesn't. No,
he doesn't explain the German aspect of it.
The Man Who Invented Christmas. That's the end of that. They talk about it's a German custom that has now hit big.
The entire.
He says it in this story because I remember that because that's when he talks about bringing the trees inside and
I remember he says I don't remember if he mentioned
Germanic
German
tribes would bring in
no, never really picked up.
There are whole versions of the song in German.
Huh. Yeah, well, that's your total ignorance in that because I knew all that.
No, to the point of the true lyrics of that song, I pretty much know the Ernest Saves Christmas version. Oh Christmas tree, oh Christmas tree, oh Christmas tree, oh Christmas tree. That's the version I know.
That's not even how that goes. It's how beautiful. Actually, the original translation is how loyal are your lovely needle or your leaves or your needles.
Yeah,
but we've changed it to oh Christmas tree, oh Christmas tree, which is a rough translation. O Tannenbaum, we might sing dein Blatter. Du grünst nicht nur so
You're really gonna go there, huh?
Nun eich Winter Wein ist schneit. O Tannenbaum, we sing dein Blatter.
We apologize now to any German listeners.
I'm sure I butchered that.
I think all of those W's were supposed to be V sounds.
Oh, Christmas tree, how loyal are your needles? You're not only green in the summertime, not also in the winter when it snows. No, also in the winter it snows. Oh, Christmas tree, how loyal are your needles or leaves? It's translated.
It wasn't something we sang a lot of at my house, apparently, because.
Well, you hate,
I did
you
not
hate
know that.
Christmas until the week before. Then you suddenly love Christmas for like a week and a half, and then you're like, nope, okay, no more Christmas.
That is not true at all. Not true.
A little bit true.
No, it's not true. It's not true.
Is there anything else on this story that you guys wanted to talk about?
I don't think so.
I enjoyed what's his name? Peter Purvis's I enjoyed his
narration.
His narration, and while his first doctor wasn't quite,
I thought he did a good job.
Wasn't quite. He embodies the spirit.
He is the spirit. Yeah. Maybe tonally not there, but the spirit of him was very much in line with.
It wasn't quite up to the William Russell level.
William Russell does a much better job of maybe hitting the tone of the doctor. But yeah, I think. Peter Purvis. I think I've always been accepting of his doctor, even when it's not.
I also think
spot on.
The doctor when he's with Stephen is also different from when the doctor was when he was with Ian. So I kind of excuse the differences in how they portray him.
That's true. Yeah,
because when he was with Ian, we were back to.
He was very grumpy and yeah.
The granddaughter was around.
Yeah, so. Even with Vicky, I mean, he softened some there, but by the time we get to Stephen, he's very much a different doctor.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was an enjoyable story. Once again, it was pretty enjoyable up until the end, and then it was like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Not bad little Christmas stories.
It's Christmas. I'm going to allow it.
Yeah, you're always a little more forgiving at Christmas time.
It's that one time of year we smile a little easier. We forgive a little easier.
Yeah, you're quoting Scrooge, but I can't remember how it goes either. Although, Murray kind of did all that on the cuff anyway, so. Well, very good. We hope that you enjoyed our little Christmas special, and maybe we'll do more of these side trips throughout the year instead of waiting an entire year to do one. We kind of usually do them when there's, We
like to have a good reason.
Yeah, exactly. We like to do them when they just don't quite fit in a regular episode, and it's just a little special treat. So there's your Christmas treat. Well, enjoy yourselves at Christmas, and... until next Christmas, Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Happy holidays, seasons, greetings, all that fun stuff. And hopefully you didn't get any coal in your stocking. And, don't eat too much ham or turkey or whatever's
Or candy canes.
or candy canes, whatever's on your Christmas table.
And thanks for listening.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.